Hello everybody! Welcome back to my channel. Today's video, and Blind Woman Recommends. Turns out I was able to get my recommendations done quickly before, so that I can get them out after, like, literally today. So I am, like, really happy to say I got everything done. Those recommendations done, so here we go. So these are the recommendations for after the Changeling. I have 20 recommendations for you guys, and I'm pretty excited. So let's get started right away so that I don't make this too long. I know everybody has things to do. So the first 7 books are actually by the same author. They are by Gail Carson Levine. And yeah, I love it. Anyway, so the first 2 are actually kind of like of the same series in a way. I don't even know if it's a series, but it's A Tale of Two Castles and Stolen Magic. And basically, A Tale of Two Castles kind of starts off with like um um basically it kind of starts off with this our main character leaving to like this city. She leaves, like, I think it's like in her island, to this city, and she ends up working to figure out a mystery with this dragon detective. It's actually kind of cool, and they're both kind of featured in the same stories. I don't know how else to describe it. I read it a really long time ago. I think I was like 14 when I read this. So yeah. The next 2 books are also part of like the same world, and that is the Two Princesses of Bamar and the Lost Kingdom of Bamar. So that's a thing. Okay. So the Two Princes of Bamar kind of takes place, I guess, sometime after the Lost Kingdom of Bamar. The Lost Kingdom of Bamar seems to be almost like a prequel. And basically, the Two Princes of Bamar is about these 2 princesses. They're both sisters, and they really get along well, and they get along super well. But they, one of them contracts a disease, and the other one ends up going on this quest to find a cure for that disease. The Lost Kingdom of Bamar is basically about our main character, Peregrine. She's part of the Latki people, and they oppress Bamarians, and they oppress against the Bamar and everything, and they basically, there is a lot of prejudice toward them. But it turns out that there's a fairy eventually comes out or approaches Peregrine and lets her know that she herself is from Bamar, and now her quest is to fix things for her oppressed people. The 5th book is called Ever, and Ever is it's a love story between this mortal and a god. And basically, they kind of go on a quest, because in a way, kind of like to be together. It's very interesting. They have to go on this journey to find a way for her to be with this person, but also there, like, other things are also happening in general. Again, really long time since I read this book, so I'm being really vague. I'm sorry. 6, which is actually one of my favorites, is Fairest. Fairest is a story about a young girl has pretty much who lives in this kingdom where the 2 main, like, qualities, like the 2 biggest best qualities, are like beauty and her singing. And she already has like a singing voice, but she's not very pretty. And then she ends up becoming the lady in waiting for the new queen, and she ends up going on this. The queen asks her to do a lot of different things, but she ends up going on a quest after certain events happen, and it's again vague. I haven't read it in a while, I know. And number 7, last but not least, by Gail Carson Levine, it is Ella Enchanted. And Ella Enchanted is a classic. I love this one. It's actually the first book that really got me into reading a lot, I feel, when I was like 13. And that is about a girl who gets cursed by this fairy. to be obedient, and she goes on a quest attempting to break that curse. Number 8 is Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling, mainly because this is like adventure, and it feels the Changeling did seem to have an adventurous strike, like quest slash adventure. So oh, thank you. So that's the main reason I would recommend it. If you don't know what this is about, basically this young 11-year-old boy, Harry Potter, lives with his very neglectful and abusive family, and he finds out he is a wizard, and then goes off to Hogwarts School for Witchcraft and Wizardry, and does a bunch of events there. Not to mention, one of the things that this fits is the mystery aspect. So yeah. The next 2 books I actually am not going to describe because I don't know how to describe these 2 reads specifically. They're 2 series, and they're episodic series. So they're not like, it's very much episodic. Okay, thanks voiceover. It's very much episodic, so I don't know how to kind of describe them. And those are Grant County and Will Trent by Karen Slaughter. So yeah. The next book on my list is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. Truly Devious follows our main character Stevie, who is accepted into this prestigious academy based on her passion for true crime. And she wants to do, and for her school project, and in general for her big thing, what she wants to do most is solve the mystery of the kidnapping and death and slash murder. It's a murder slash kidnapping in the 1930s. And it revolves around the original founder of the academy. So that's her big project, trying to figure out basically who kidnapped his daughter, and as well as his wife, and also who killed his wife at the end of it, and also who kidnapped his daughter, and if she's alive, like where is she and stuff like that. But then there is another mystery that comes up when one of the students is found like dead, I believe is what it is. They're found dead somewhere in the school, and they're trying to now she's trying to do that, and it seems like the same person that did it in the 1930s is also responsible for this one, because out of the one thing that was left in the 1930s mystery is a thriller by someone who calls themselves Truly Devious, and they left like a riddle, and now Truly Devious seems to be returning in the present. So you kind of get both the stories from both timelines. It's actually really interesting to read. I like going back and forth to like the 30s and all that stuff. But anyway, yeah. The next, let me see. 2 books are by Mary Lou, and those are The Kingdom of Back and Warcross. The Kingdom of Back follows a young girl and slash woman. She grows up making music with her brother, which is Mozart, by the way. And they meet this like prince from this other land, this like magical land. And they end up becoming friends. And everything, but there's like this quest of trying to get him back to the throne. But then so much happens. Like there's a lot that happens in that story. It's a very good story though. It's really nice historical fiction. Warcross is a how do I explain it? Warcross is a science fiction duology that follows Emika, who is basically a bounty hunter in this future. She's basically a bounty hunter, and she is basically she's watching a game with her friend, and she's having like economical difficulties, but she ends up hacking the game which I believe is called Warcross. Yeah, Warcross. And she hacks the game and steals something that she's about to sell. But at the end, she ends up, she thinks she's gonna get in trouble, but she ends up being asked by the owner to help him find like the what's happening in the game and other stuff like that. There's a romance, it's adorable. It's just good. It's really good, honestly. Um, hey, now that I think about it, there's a lot of other recommendations I can give. And before we move on to the series, something I'm thinking about really quickly is like the novels that are the Kyoshi novels, which are basically written by FCE, and they are like a prequel stuff to Avatar: The Last Airbender, and they follow Kyoshi as her journey as an avatar. So that's something you could also read. But now we're moving on to the series. And I'm starting off with The Rising of the Shield Hero. I have reviewed The Rising of the Shield Hero, so I will link it below. But basically we follow Naofumi as he is summoned into the world of Melremark. And basically this girl accuses him of something he did not commit, and all his advantages and everything, all his resources kind of get taken away, and now he has to find ways to survive. It's hard to watch, but it's a damn good show if you do. And my 15th recommendation is Dragon Ball, specifically the original Dragon Ball, because that's where the main adventure comes in. Adventure still hits Dragon Ball Z and everything else, but it's kind of like the origins of the adventure. But basically, it kind of starts off with a kid named Goku who lives in the woods, but then this woman looking for the Dragon Balls ends up bumping into him. She almost kills him by running him over with her car. And then she explains what the Dragon Balls are and how, because he has one, he has the 4-star ball, and she wants to take it, but he's like, no, that's like my grandfather's thing or whatever. And she explains what they are, and she ends up making him this deal that he goes in kind of like along with her to learn about the city, and also kind of like as her bodyguard, but she wants to borrow the Dragon Ball, and he agrees, so he goes off with her in search of the Dragon Balls and gets to learn about the city, and a bunch of other things ensue. The next one I want to recommend is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Avatar: The Last Airbender follows Aang, who is found in an iceberg by brother and sister Sokka and Katara, and we find out he is the Avatar, also known as also being the last Airbender, since his people went through genocide, unfortunately, and they go on a quest for him to learn all the elements, and also the biggest part of the plot, defeat. He has to learn it by the end of summer before Sozin's comet arrives, and defeat Fire Lord Ozai before that chance as well, because the comet will give them a lot of the Firebenders a lot of power, and they basically have enough power to destroy the world. The next one I have here is The Dragon Prince. The Dragon Prince also has books, so if you want to read the books as well, like, yeah, read those too. But The Dragon Prince follows 3 kids, an elven assassin named Rayla, and brothers Ezrin and Callum, as they go to try to kind of fix try to prevent war from their kingdoms. And basically there is animosity between the human kingdoms and the elves / the dragons as well, because months earlier the egg of the Dragon Prince was they thought was basically destroyed, but you find out it's still alive, and now if they return the egg to the Dragon Queen, and they return the Dragon Prince to its mother, they think they might be able to prevent war. So that is their quest. So far that series is still ongoing. It's right now there are 3 seasons. I'm certain there's going to be a season 4, but I don't know when. So yeah. Oh, and fun fact about this series, it is it is the co-creator of this is Aaron Ehas, who was also a writer in Avatar: The Last Airbender. So something good to know. The next one I want to recommend is Voltron, Defender of the Universe. I saw this on Netflix like a couple of years ago, and basically these people get um like uh they end up, I don't even know how to describe it. It's been a while since I've watched it, honestly. I don't have a great description, but they meet this princess, and they I don't know, I don't remember the events, how they got into the spaceship, and they eventually become these like superheroes from like space, and basically like in space and trying to save like the universe from these other people. It's really, it's just I don't know how to explain it. I'm sorry. 19 is Violet Evergarden. Now, Violet Evergarden is a drama, as is the next recommendation, but honestly, I feel like it's kind of like an emotional quest in a way. So, Violet Evergarden follows our main character Violet as the war is over, and now she kind of has no purpose, and basically she feels, basically she her only purpose is has always been to be a weapon, and she does not understand emotions, but she eventually becomes an auto memories doll, which is basically like these people that write letters for these for basically for other people. And she eventually decides to do that with the hopes of finding out what the last words that her major or supervisor said to her mean. And those words were, I love you. So she wants to understand them. So that's basically why she's going that way. Um, it's very interesting. It's like what it's like going to therapy. It's like emotional therapy through anime. And my last recommendation is Fruits Basket. And Fruits Basket I have not reviewed, but will hopefully be reviewing soon. And that is basically about this young girl named Toru. She was living in a tent for a while because her mother very recently passed away, and her grandfather is basically doing renovations to his home. Um, and not to bother him, she ends up, moving out on her own. And but she ends up meeting this guy, Shigure, and it turns out he was making like these Chinese zodiac member stuff, like figurines, and she at some point ends up moving in with him, or agrees to move in with him instead of like staying in the tent, right? When she loses her tent by accident, right? So she ends up moving in with him, but she also ends up finding out that the family is under a curse. And the curse is that when they are hugged by the opposite sex, they become an animal from the Chinese zodiac set. They become one of the Chinese zodiac animals. It's interesting. It's an interesting premise, and now they're all kind of trying to break the curse. Now there are two versions of this. There is the original 2001, which is kind of like a product advertisement to get you to read the manga. And then there is the reboot, which is basically the entire story. It's very much more connected to the manga and everything. Honestly, you don't need to watch the original to watch the reboot. It kind of does it well, but whichever you watch, they both hold up anyway. Anyway, those are all my recommendations. Let me know if you have any other recommendations. What are your thoughts on all this stuff? I will be coming back tomorrow for my October wrap up. So look forward to that. And with that, I will be going now, and I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, consume stories.